Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports. Sleeper picks, breaking down the games today. We'll do a little baseball, do a little golf. We'll get into some NFL. We'll start doing more NFL as the season approaches. And you look up at the calendar; it's the middle of June, but very quickly, the preseason comes in a Hall of Fame game, college football. It's not that far away, so break it all down. It is Josh. It is Brad. Boys, what's going on?
We got to wake up with major coverage on, so I'm always happy when we can watch a major first thing in the morning.
Do you like when it's on the West Coast? I kind of like it where it carries into the late afternoon. It goes a little
I
longer. You
love
watch
it.
some more. You do? Okay.
I
Yeah, I
love
do
it. And
too.
then I when I go to the gym, sometimes I get over listening to music, right? But if I have the major on, it's something like sound that is in my ears. I'm still working out, focused on my workout, not like having to track soccer because who cares what the commentator says? You have to actually watch that because you might miss the one goal that happens.
Yeah, no, I've definitely enjoyed it, and I enjoy being on the West Coast and not having to wake up and having 3 hours of golf already haven't been played essentially. So that's pretty nice as well. And I'm kind of liking what's going on so far, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what, especially when you have first round leader bets. Like if these tournaments start early, even on the East Coast, you wake up and you look at the phone and your guy's like three over. Like your bet can already be dead, and you just woke up and the
Worst
least
feeling.
the least you want is a better. Obviously, the goal is to win the bet. You at least want a little sweat. You don't want that. And sometimes when you go to bed, you get these where you get that little 5 second rush of you check your phone and you either won your bet or you lost your bet, and it's over. You don't even get that sometimes
Yeah.
when on these early ones. What do we have going on, Brad? Are you guys looking at the leaderboard? I'm just looking at the live
Yeah,
odds.
I'm looking at the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Jacob Solomon and Dylan. Whoa, four-way tie at the top, three under. Jacob Solomon, Dylan Wu, Ricky Fowler, and Xander Schauffele. I'd say Ricky Fowler's rolling the ball the best. Xander's ball striking the best. Dylan Wu is unstoppable because he's going to play really well at this tournament after me betting him 3 weeks in a row
Ooh.
at 80 to 100 to 1. He was 400 to 1. He's obviously not going to win, but imagine I will probably I don't know, send him a Venmo request with all the tickets that I had him winning.
Let me know how that goes.
Knowing
Yeah,
him, he'd probably pay it because this is going to be the biggest payday of his life.
Yeah, I didn't go with Woo at all. I know you were talking about that. I kind of wish I had. I took some stuff for Fowler to be head to head with Mr. Cam Young. Feeling really good about that with Fowler at -3. Like you said, when his putter's hot, man, I feel
Mhm.
so good about betting on Ricky Fowler. It's a really good feeling, especially for a top 10, top 20 finish. The way
Yeah.
that he's rolling the ball, like you said, that's when I feel really good about him. I did sprinkle on John Rahm and Scotty to kind of back myself there as you're going to feel really stupid if one of the two of them wins this and you didn't bet on them. So I did make sure that I got some on them, but it's not going to take away from some of the larger ones, like either Morikawa at 40 to 1, which would feel really good. Or the other one that I would really love to happen is what's his name again? Sorry, Mr. Kepka again. I've
Yeah.
made sure to get on him as well, and a top 10 finish for him too.
What's interesting is, I took Max Homa and I totally played the California native 2 or 3 months ago narrative. And this is not even the best narrative for him because they're not playing on POA greens. What's also funny is Scotty Scheffler is probably playing the worst he absolutely could. And
I know.
he's only one over.
Yep.
He's playing god awful and one over, which is kind of scary because if we remember the Masters,
I was
when he
just
was
gonna
playing
say.
so terrible, he was out of it. And then
Yep.
he started playing good again and got in contention. Scary for guys like that.
Yep, and that's why I just made sure to get some insurance on him in the top 10 because he's just never out of it. So if you have him to win, but he's 7 strokes back, you're like, I don't know, but he's probably going to finish 3 back of the winners. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and we
Zero
do have
irons
some. I
taking up the course.
was gonna say we do have some afternoon baseball. Blue Jays Orioles starting soon. I don't have a play on that one. Orioles -125 or so favorites. Total around 9. Wells and Kikuchi. Bunch of day games later. Rays A's. I don't know. Did the Rays end up winning that game last night?
yeah,
They won and
Finally.
yep,
covered. Won and
and
covered,
covered.
guys.
Oh
I
wow,
bet
because they were
I
down.
told you
What,
I
what
was
was the
betting the
final?
Rays. I
Yep,
think they won 6-9 or something. They won by 3, I believe.
nice.
Must have been a lot
And
of late scoring in that one then.
Yep,
what's crazy is as bad as Glass now pitched, he still got the win. So that paid at -125. I couldn't believe it. They were down. They took the lead in the fifth inning. Then there was bases loaded. They pull them with a 1-run lead. Reliever comes in and just throws a bunch of dimes. I was like,
yeah.
holy smokes.
Yes, we got a bunch of day games. I will have a play. We'll talk about the golf. I'll give you play in baseball. Just run down the card. What happened last night? And people, I don't know if you guys are we monitoring the chat. If you guys don't like us talking golf, just tell us to shut the fuck up and we'll talk about something else.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. This is still a betting show. I'm curious. This is a major first round leader. DraftKings live odds. Shoffley +550, Fowler 7 to 1, Siwoo Kim 16-1. Make sure you bet the right Kim. There's like, well, I don't want to make any
Yeah.
jokes, but there are multiple Kims. It can be confusing. Hopefully I don't get canceled. Rom 22-1, Solomon 22-1, Homa 22-1. This is just first round leader. Rory 28-1, Dylan Wu 22-1. I don't know why these are out of order. Kepka 28-1, Cantley 35-1. Anyone else that you find interesting, just ask me and I'll look it up. Brad, Josh, anything you guys like in terms of the odds I just read? Anything worth a stab here?
At those odds, I'd probably take a stab at maybe Siwoo Kim. I think Xander's going to finish first round leader because he's striking the ball the best. Like this is going to like regardless of how much your putter is rolling, this is going to be a course that's going to be dominated by ball strikers, especially once it starts to firm up. So I don't really like anybody who hasn't teed off yet. Like this course is going to it's playing pretty difficult. Like it's playing. I'm going to do like a in my head average. I think it's probably playing like 3 over par right now. I wish, like in the day and age we're in right now, that their leaderboard should say how much over par it is. But I mean, they got rain and it was overcast all morning, which means it's just going to get more and more difficult.
And he just went from plus 550 to plus 500.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I have a bet on Scheffler and I don't see him listed here, which is never a good sign. What is Scheffler doing? I knew he was 1 over last I looked.
He's 1 over. He's about to. He has like pretty much a tap in for par. I don't want to say that with Scheffler because that's never the case. But remember, I told you, man, Scotty never really starts tournaments hot. It's so weird. I think he's just so good. I don't know. I can't think of anybody in the late. Maybe Rory. But we saw how Rory's been playing with these very firm greens. Like his launch angle and his ball flight is so high that it bounces. I don't know if he can play lower trajectory. But then we think about like the lower trajectory guys, like I don't know, Justin Rose, Seamus Power, Shane Lowry. None of them are under par.
I don't even see Scheffler listed here on DraftKings unless I'm missing him. I mean, he's not that far off. What's the leader have? What's the leader at? -4?
3.
-3 the lead.
I'd imagine the leader will probably get in at 4. I think 4 is an amazing score. It's because it's only going to get hotter and firmer. And then
how many holes has Scheffler played?
I think he's through set. He's going to tap in. He's on 7. Going to tap in soon.
Is this just an oversight that he's not listed, or is that that impossible where there's no odds on him?
It's not impossible. It's an oversight.
No, he's listed at 10-1.
Where are you? Where are you looking
at? I think it might have just popped up on DraftKings.
I'm looking.
I was just scrolling through, and then he just searched. He's 3rd right now behind Rom and Shuffle.
Interesting. I'm gonna go to check on FanDuel, see if there's any discrepancies here. I'm not even seeing him on a leader round. You're looking at outright or leader round 1?
Outright.
No, I'm looking for first round leader.
Oh, got you.
Just because I want to know where my bet stands. Sometimes I just use that as a barometer. Like
there, yeah.
I'd imagine he's probably like 100-1. That's what I'd price him. Let's see, Scotty Scheffler. Let's see if I find him.
He's not on FanDuel either.
I'm just looking for the alliteration names.
20-1 on DraftKings. No, 200-1.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, 200-1.
Yep, 150-1.
Yeah. Just saw him out 200-1.
He's right there with Charlie Hoffman and Mr. Bennett, Sam Bennett. Stuart Sink is up there.
So that's a dead bet, Brad. That's not worth throwing $5 at 200-1.
No, it's dead.
Dead. All right. You said that. You said that in a mean way.
He would have to play. I think he'd have to play the back 9 5 under, which is not happening. Especially since there's. Wait, I don't know if he started on the front or the back. Let me just check really quick.
That's what she said.
Where are you? He started on the front. Front 9's easier than the back 9, so
let me see here. Outright winners, just to give you guys an idea. Schauffele at 7-1, Rom 8-1, Scheffler's only at 9-1. So odds really haven't dropped that much. They've dropped a little bit. Koepka 11-1, Rory 12-1, Cantley 16-1, Fowler 16-1, Spieth 20-1, Homa 25-1. Anything you guys have interest in there?
Yeah, I wish I had put money on Homa, and I might jump in on the action at this point because I just kind of stayed away from. I just probably shouldn't have been paying as much attention as I have to how poorly he's played in the last like 3 tournaments, to be honest. But like he still had some decent holes in there. It's just really the blow up holes for him, and like 4 bogeys in a row at times and things like that. And he's just gotten 2 in a row right now. So as I'm saying that, I'm now getting scared again because of the reasoning that I'm giving. He just was at 3 under. He's down to 1 under, right? Or he was at 2 under, whatever. So he's definitely just lost a couple strokes. And for him, like I just kind of want to get on the action though, because what you just read at like 25-1, I still think he's definitely got a shot.
As we watch this tournament, I kind of get mad at myself. I accidentally bet 4 guys to be over par today. and I went and just hedged out of all because I meant to do under par, and it's 1-1 right now. But I think the other two guys are going to be over par while I'm looking at this course.
Galaxy brain.
I know.
Shoffley, as we speak, down to 4-1 to be the first round leader for the golf. All right, let's get to football in a minute. First, baseball. I did bet Philly today with Nola on the mound against Nelson. And Arizona's been a team I feel like every day they're undervalued, but I just feel like there's a good pitching matchup for Philly. Nola, it can be frustrating, but he's got a lot of talent, so it's a cheap price. Mine is 130 ish for Philly here. Day game against Arizona. Philly's won a couple in a row now. Did they win the game? Yeah, they won the game with Wheeler Monday.
And Ranger Suarez won last night.
Did they? Was there an in between game? I'm blanking here. Is that 3 in a row they won or 2 out of 3?
Yeah, I don't know specifically about I was going to talk about the Phillies too, so I'm mad that I don't know that because I
No,
also
okay. No,
that
here's
was
what
my
happened
pick,
because
dude.
Arizona won Monday night and then Phillies won the last 2.
Okay, yeah, but that was my pick for sure. I love the way that they're pitching right now, way better, and Aaron Nola being on the mound is always helpful for sure. So I mean, he's definitely more. He's been a little bit vulnerable in terms of his sinker. I have him on a fantasy team. Shockingly, I have like 4. That's why I just keep bringing up pretty much every player. But I've sort of been seeing how he pitches, and you really want him to keep the ball down and keep it sinking. It hasn't been as good this year, but I like the way that they're hitting enough to get past, even if Nola does give up 2 or 3 in this one and is able to get through 5. Like I still really like the Phillies to be able to hit better than the Diamondbacks in this situation. So the minus 130 is a good price.
Yeah, and Braves, Braves Astros would be a popular 2-team little parlay there. Braves big favorites against the Rockies, minus 240 or so, and then Houston, who had played a crazy game last night against the Nationals. That game was 4-1 in the 9th. Astros made a bunch of errors. It looked like Washington was going to take a 1-run lead. They had a man on third with 1 out. Houston gets out of it and wins it in the 9th. So, boy, I wouldn't be opposed to a Braves Astros money line parlay right around even money. That might be a play for me. But let's get a little NFL going. I asked you guys before the show, come up with one team that you think is overrated, one team you think is underrated. Brad, we'll start with you. Who in your mind is overrated?
And so I'm basing mine solely on the odds.
Yeah.
And for me, that is going to be the Detroit Lions, overrated, 22-1. Even if they're overrated by 1 or 2 spots, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have a chance to sweep their division, which automatically puts one team ahead of them. I believe the Chargers are going to be better. I actually think the Seahawks might be better than the Detroit Lions. We're just handing the Detroit Lions this division. They're going to have to outscore every single team, which is, in actuality, we say it's all great, but not everyone's Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't look yet too much at that division because it's not my favorite at this point without much going on in it. No offense to Will and his Vikings. As far as like you're talking about overrated, I'm actually starting with the Dolphins, to be honest. And I'd like to fade them. They're at what 8.5 wins right now.
9.5.
9.5. So even with the 9.5, like I think they are close to like a 7 seed. Still, I don't think that they've like made some kind of jump. I still think they're like about the Patriots, essentially, is what I'm saying. So I don't think that they're necessarily like running away with any division. And obviously, Aaron Rodgers adds some stuff there to you that you don't know what's going on there. But between them and honestly, this is so easy for me. But the Broncos. As well, I believe they're at 8.5 as well. Like happy to fade the Broncos once again. I don't know what would have happened to make everyone so much more confident in Denver right now, but 8.5 wins again. Like I think they're good for some of that stuff, but those are the 2 teams that I'm definitely fading right now.
Yep, I was torn which team to go. I'm going to go New Orleans here. Their season win total is 9.5. I just don't know, man. I mean, look, I know it's an easy schedule. It's a bad division, but you're going to have to get to 10 wins and you just go through the power rankings. There's no way they're a top 15 team. To me, they're like in that 18, 19 range. And if you're going to be a 10-win team, I just can't put a team in the bottom half of the league as a 10-win team. So to me, it's the Saints. Carr's a nice player. He's fine. He's serviceable. Maybe he can be an upgrade, but look, he stunk last year. Like he is not your savior. If he's the answer, you're asking the wrong question. So to me, the Saints at 9.5, that's a little overrated. I actually think Carolina's a nice bet in that division. There's plus 380 at them at DraftKings.
I think Carolina's a really good bet.
Yep.
Well, you now we're on to the underrated teams because mine is Atlanta. I actually like the Falcons a bit more. It's not quite the value because they are the second, favorite, sort of second right now to take that division. So that the odds aren't quite there for them. It's plus 240 for them to win the South. You might be able to get a better price on that though. I didn't shop it around too much for them to win the South in the NFC, but like someone has to win a division. I definitely would not touch the Saints at plus 115. To your point, Will, about fading them, and then the Panthers are plus 380, so a little bit better than the Falcons to win that division for sure. But
I love that.
I think the Falcons, what they showed last year, like they're only going to build upon it. I do like Desmond Ridder. I think at times he was good enough in the pocket as a completely like new rookie playing at the very end of the season coming in, right? Like he wanted to run sometimes. I think if he can be sort of like tailored to designed runs as opposed to just, well, now I'm flushed out and I've got to figure it out, so that he also has a plan A being in the pocket at times as well, which I don't think he really felt comfortable with last year. I think all that helps. And now you're throwing back to your healthy tight end once again, and Drake London's should continue, like just throw the ball to Drake London. I feel like that was a hashtag trending last year for most people, was like, why are you not throwing the ball to Drake London? And then Pitts, like I said, coming back from injury, that's a really nice 1-2 punch. Plus they're almost like 49ers-y, because they also got Cordarrelle Patterson, who just makes you think that he can play all the positions. They drafted dude who I'm forgetting his name right now, but their running back that they took could just basically
Bijan Robinson.
Thank you, John Robinson. Yeah, exactly, Bijan.
Yeah.
And if Bijan, if he comes in and is basically just like a wide receiver at times as well, like what do you do with that? I really like what they can throw at you, and they're going to have to score more points than the other team for sure. But the defense is getting a bit better. They sort of like threw some money at the problem on defense there to like get guys like Calais Campbell in and see if he still has something in the tank. At least you have someone standing there for you that's 6'7" in the middle of your line, which is nice. But I think they can outscore teams. And I think
what did they win last year?
What they ended with?
Yeah, how many wins did they get last year?
I don't think they got to 7. I think
I have Bijan as offensive player of the year, and also have him for most rushing yards, which that will be out
for
in
rookies.
Most rushing yards total. That's going to be my excerpt in the Roto World NFL Draft magazine, which I'm really excited. Really excited for people to see. So, yeah, when I let you guys know when it's out, buy a copy. I don't get kickbacks, but it means a lot to me.
Hell yeah.
7-10 last year.
7-10. So is everybody in that division.
Yeah,
it's true.
Who's your underrated team, Will?
Underrated. I'm gonna go with the Jets. I think a few things. I think they've been so bad for so long. It's easy to take shots at them. Everyone, they're a punchline. It's easy to make fun of them. I think that, and you combine that with the fact that people don't like Rodgers. He's a diva. Will he retire? Will he not retire? Throwing the vaccine stuff. There's a lot to not like for people about Rodgers. And I just think it's a perfect storm. Like people are just rooting for this to fall on its face. I think it's going to work. I really do. I think it's a really good roster. To me, I mean, they were 7-4 last year. They were throwing the ball, like Berrios dropped the ball in the end zone against the Vikings. They were about to be 8-4. They did that with terrible quarterback play. Like Mike White was hurt at the end of the year. Zach Wilson was healthy at the end of the year. Neither of those things helped them win. To me, like I think they were 5-2 when they scored more than one touchdown on offense. They just need very little from the quarterback position. I think Rodgers, look, it's not peak Rodgers, but I think he's got enough left where he'll be sort of reinvigorated by New York, a new team, weapons all around him. They're good on defense. To me, this is a good team. I think they're a good bet to win the division. I think it's going to work here with the Jets. I know they're an easy punchline. People rooting for it to fail. I think it's going to work.
Yeah, it's I talked about the Jets a little bit when they brought me on TMZ. I was not prepared to talk about the Jets or football. And I think I said something along the lines of like, people are counting the Jets out because they're the Jets, because of how bad they've been. But they had the Bills on the ropes. Like played great games with getting absolutely nothing. This defense is going to be good again. I think the defense is going to be better. They're going to get more pressure on the quarterback. Life is easy when you're getting pressure on the quarterback and you have a serviceable quarterback. And like, I'm not even saying serviceable to like disrespect Aaron Rodgers by any means, but I'm like equating it to the Eagles that won the Super Bowl. Like their defense was so elite, and like it didn't matter if it was Wentz or Foles. Like Wentz played well when he was healthy, but then like Foles didn't even need to be good. And I think that the Jets can take that similar model.
And their season fell apart. Really, I mentioned the Berrios drop, but remember there was a game in Denver where was it Brees Hall or Bryce Hall? I forget. It's Brees Hall, right?
Brees Hall, yeah.
him and Vera Tucker. And Vera Tucker, look, I don't study the guard play, but everyone's like he's one of the best guards, if not the best guard in the league. They both got hurt, I think, the same day, out for the season. So you get those guys back. They had a good draft last year, like in Gardner, in Wilson. I just think it's a loaded team. I think it's a really good team, and I think it's going to work. It's a tough schedule. All these AFC teams have tough schedules. So, I don't know that anybody's going to run up like 14, 15 wins. They're all going to sort of beat each other up, and that's a really tough division. But I like them. I think the Bills can take a step back. I think this Diggs stuff, and Diggs is about to turn 32, which is usually when receivers drop off. I think that 13 seconds against Kansas City a couple years ago sort of lingered with the Bills. I think it's going to work. So I think the Jets are a good bet to win the division. I like their over too. I think they're a little underrated. I would not. I'll say this. I would not be shocked if they're in the AFC title game or the Super Bowl. I would not be shocked.
Me either. Wow. My underrated team is the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams have a whole bunch of nobodies playing wide receiver. We know that, but they have Cooper Kupp. They have Matthew Stafford. For them to be 60-1, if the Rams go 4-0, 3-1, those odds instantly go to 25-1. Aaron Donald is still on that team. As long as Aaron Donald's on that team, that defensive line is going to wreak havoc. It's just funny. Like, okay, if I give you money to bet on a team to win the Super Bowl, and I tell you, you have to pick from the Los Angeles Rams, the New Orleans Saints, Green Bay Packers, or Pittsburgh Steelers, who would you bet?
I bet the under on the Rams, but I get your point. The Rams would be the bet. I guess maybe I would think about the Packers if there's some boom potential with
the
with
pricing.
Love.
Let's just I never said the pricing. The pricing makes the biggest difference. Packers 40-1, Saints 40-1, Rams 60-1. Like that's what and Steelers 45-1. Like that's what I mean underrated. Like,
are you going to get
way more value?
Just because I'm on the other side of it, I'll play devil's advocate. How many games are you going to get out of Stafford?
That's I don't know. That's the wild card. And so that's the hardest part. I just picked them as my underrated just because of that possibility of if Stafford plays a full season.
Right. There's still the high-end talent there. Like you said, Stafford, Kupp, Donald. It's just they're so top-heavy. They had so many of these years where they didn't have draft picks that I don't think they have the depth in the roster. And, like, it's the NFL. And you guys people got to keep this in mind when you're betting these. Like, you want to look at the team when it's fully healthy. There's going to be a lot of injuries. That's why unders are good bet for player props, for season win totals, for whatever. Like, bad stuff is going to happen. I just worry, like, hey, if Stafford gets hurt, and remember there was talk last year he would retire because of the concussion. Like, if Kupp got hurt, like, if these guys get hurt, I don't know that they have the depth, and they do have a tough schedule. Let me pull it up here to start the season. They play San Francisco. Let's see. I want to get it exactly right, but it is a very tough start to the season.
Seattle, San Francisco, Cincy, Indy, who should take a step forward, Philly, Arizona, Steelers.
A couple of those are on the road too. So like they're at Seattle, then home for the Niners, then what? At Cincy, the Eagles,
at Indy. They're home for the Eagles, but
home for the Eagles. And
that'll be a pretty interesting game. I mean, if you can't kind of expect a turnaround, it seems like every other year they're going to come back from the previous shitty year and be good. But I do think the aging quarterback and stuff. And to answer your question from earlier, like I think I would take the Steelers before I would take the Packers in a bet as well. Like I feel more to kind of compare that. I definitely still think there's optimism there. There's players there in Pitt, so just kind of adding that in. But
I don't know if Trubisky has the upside.
No, maybe not. But like if Kenny Pickett can do something and show something for them, then like he could be turned into at least like a serviceable quarterback. I think. With pretty solid
serviceable. I know what you mean. I think serviceable sort of is upside. To be clear, I don't want any of those teams. It was just for the point of the exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
What was I going to say about the Rams? Here's the other thing that I'd be concerned about with the Rams is they finally have their pick for the first time since they drafted Goff in 2016. With Caleb Williams out there, with Drake May out there, if they start out bad, do they take a big picture look and say, you know what, fuck it. We're 2-3, we're 1-4. Let's just sort of shut it down here where Stafford can go away. Do you angle, and you worry about this with all these teams, do you angle for a draft pick?
I don't think so. I think that if they didn't –
they have their pick. They haven't had their pick in forever.
Oh, right.
I think that if they never restructured Cooper Kupp's contract, I think then, they just like, we'll just ride out what would they have. But I think them restructuring, getting 10 mil plus in cap space, they're going to try. They're going to try to make an offseason acquisition, maybe mid-season trade. Like, I don't think that they're done. I don't think they're dealing away. I think they're just – the reason they got rid of Ramsey was because – I don't know why. I don't have a reason answer for that. I don't have an answer for
why does anybody get rid of Jalen Ramsey? Why does a top 3 cornerback in the league for like the last 8 years end up on like 5 different teams? Why?
Yeah.
Like
It's interesting.
I mean, they have the talent. I would just be worried that they have a big picture, long term view here, and it's sort of a rebuild. Now you have McVay going for you. You got a quarterback in Stafford. You got like you have talent. You have a good coach, so you have that going for you. There's certainly that potential with the Rams, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what
yeah.
direction they go.
No, yeah, I'm as far as
I'm getting fired up talking about football. By the way, it
I
sucks.
know
It's a
it's
few
so much
months away
better.
because now I'm
It's
like, I want to.
crazy.
Yes,
It's
yes.
so
I'm literally
good.
wearing a football shirt right now. Like I'm so excited.
Can I make one more point that I think
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
team that's wildly underrated, and that would
Oof,
be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Can I say that? Like,
you
I
can say that.
understand that, like, I understand who's not on their team, and I definitely don't want to have to rely on Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield as my
But you
quarterback.
are.
I understand, but them to win the division is like they're in last there in terms of where they're at. So like at the money for them, like I just had it up. My bad. It's NFC South here. It's plus 750 for them to win the division. Like their defense is still the best in the division.
Yeah.
So if the DBs probably top three in the league in terms of their defensive backfield back there. Obviously, we know about Winfield, but like even just the other guys that they added a couple of guys, Ryan Neal, and then Jamel Dean's been there. So like I like who they have at that point on defense, and I still think you're getting what you need from Shaq Barrett and Levante David. Maybe not the pass rush all of a sudden, which is really weird to say, but like I don't know that's going to be as solid as it's been. At the same time, like there's nothing in that division that would scare me in terms of like winning 7 games and or 8 at this point to win the division. Like
What
not out of the
I like the
question.
under. I
What's
like the under.
crazy
You got no
too?
coaching. No, I can't bet over. Like I know it's a low number. I just can't bet over with a team with no coach and no quarterback.
Yeah,
I hate the coach too. Bowles stinks. Bowles is a defensive guy. He
yeah. I
was
don't know why
bad. He was
they
bad
did
last
Defensive
that.
year.
coaches are so old school, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
So old school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the thought process is just backwards there for sure. So I mean, I don't love it, but I think that the overall roster is still better than a team that wins 5 games,
Which
6
is
games.
fair.
What
Which
what
is fair.
helps too, what helps them too is the division they're in.
That's what I'm
They're all
saying.
run heavy teams, and they're going to have one of the best run defenses in the league
Yep.
again. They made reinforcements on the defensive line, added another D tackle, big guy. So it's going to
Yeah.
be interesting. I'm not getting my hopes up as a Bucks fan,
Yeah.
but I hope you're right.
I
It just
forgot
seems like
I
more
forgot your
fun to
Bucks
talk
too.
about this. I was just gonna say it seems more fun to talk about this division because it's like one of the more up in the air, even if it's not the best teams.
Yeah,
I would worry the same thing with them that I worry about the Rams. These teams, especially these teams that have won a Super Bowl, they're not like hungry. They have that like ring in their back pocket with the big quarterbacks available in the draft with Caleb Williams and May. If you get off to a bad start, some of these teams you say, you know
Yeah.
what, we can set ourselves up for the next decade with Caleb Williams. We're not
Yeah.
winning anything this year. Let's shut it down. So you got to worry about that. I think with these fringe teams a little bit.
So just real quick on the Rams though, like do you think the relationship between Stafford and McVay is a reason that they also don't do that combined with the Cooper Cup restructuring that you're talking about, Brad, which was like that's not something you do if you're trying to rebuild and pick up new, young players and get rid
yeah,
of your big salary.
yeah. I think that I think that McVay probably told Stafford that as long as you're healthy, we're going to give this a go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think Stafford, like from being
He's hurt a
realistic,
lot
like
though. He has hurt a lot.
he's hurt a lot, but I don't want to say this, like he wasted years in Detroit, and I think that he knows his window's closing, and I think that if he's gonna have to go through a rebuild, he would probably be upfront. They'd be upfront with each other, like just get me out of there. Like I don't want to be that guy who's gonna be the rebuild
Yeah.
piece.
I'm gonna look up his passing yards too, because these are up at
You want to go
DraftKings
under.
player. I definitely want to go under. I do not. I'm
Under,
not going to
yeah,
go over. I bet under on two already. I am not going to bet over. I'm not going to invest faith in these teams
No.
where the quarterback is one hit away from possibly retiring. And I think
Yeah.
Stafford, like if he got another head injury, neck injury, like
Yep.
he's made plenty of money. He's probably going to the Hall of Fame because he won a Super Bowl, which we could debate. I don't know that he's a Hall of Famer, but he's made plenty of money. He's won his ring. He's older. Like his wife was sick. Like there's a post football life for Stafford,
Yeah.
right? That would worry me too. Where it's like, you
Yeah.
know what, one hit and he could be looking for exit stage left here.
And
I want to say one thing, Tone. Listen, there's no way you're going to tell a quarterback in the NFL if they care about their window. Look at Tom Brady. Look at Brett Favre. Look at Peyton Manning. They all care about that window.
It's
Don't care how
possible.
many Super Bowls they have. They
Yeah.
want to win all the time.
Yeah. I would just say too, like for the Rams, like the more I look at them, the more I'm just like, I I think they played above their pay grade once they got Odell, and it was still Odell. And I think we just forget about that a bit too much. That like that offense was kind of anemic. No one really had them going to the Super Bowl with any certainty that year. Last year, they obviously lose
And they
him.
and they caught breaks too. Green Bay lost as a 1 seed. The Chiefs
Yeah,
lost. They got to host
Chiefs,
the
yeah,
NFC title game as a 10-win team, and
right.
they got to host the Super Bowl against the
Yeah,
9-win. Like a lot broke. Look,
I think
when you
that's who
win,
they
things
are.
break your way. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
I'm very
think we are who they thought they were in this situation, and like the anomaly was when they played well with a guy that they don't have anymore, who's now in the Ravens. Whatever iteration of Odell you're about to get in Baltimore, like what he was for LA was potentially Super Bowl MVP, obviously before he went down. Huge
Yeah.
for them in stretching the field because Cooper Cup, as good as he is, like he can stretch the field, but that's not how you use him. You don't just send him on fly routes. You don't just send him to be more athletic than the other guy. And they don't have that guy anymore.
I think this is telling. Draft every quarterback I think is listed for passing yards at DraftKings and FanDuel. Stafford is not up at either place.
That's funny.
They're not going to hang that candy out. They know.
No, they know. They know.
They
Yeah.
know that they are one hit away. I'm surprised Tua is up. Tua is 39.50 here at DraftKings. You're going to tell me that guy's going to play a full season? That's another guy where he's one hit
Wow,
away.
39.50.
That was
Yeah,
my
At
first.
DraftKings.
That was
At
my
draft.
first one, right? That was my first overrated team for sure. Like I think the Broncos are super easy, but like as far as the Dolphins go, the thing about the Dolphins is health more than anything, and it's also to a degree offensive line.
And they have a decent backup
Right?
quarterback. To be fair, he's one of the better backup
But
quarterbacks.
they started 9 different offensive line combinations last year throughout the
Yep.
season, right? Not something that is huge for keeping Tua upright, as we know.
Yes.
I mean, your cousin Tyreek Hill, like there's
Second cousin. Yes.
second cousin, right? If you were to say who's gonna win a relay race of 400 yards or whatever, like 400 meters, like give it to this team without question. Put all your money on them. But right now, like as far as the speed, that's kind of it. And if we're relying on that once again to get more than 9 wins, like I mean, I don't know. I don't believe in it as much.
And I think the best bet to me is Tua under 39.50 passing yards. Again, you got to make the bet in June, like whenever. Then you can wait till the start of the season and tie up your money to January. But in terms of like expected win, like I just think that's a high percentage bet because look, he's another guy. He's one hit away from retiring, maybe like a hit to the head, and he's had other injuries, hip, ankle. I mean,
Yeah.
you're a Bama guy,
Yeah.
Brad, so like he's been beat up
Yeah.
through college, through high school, and I don't think it's an accident that he's always hurt. To me, it's like there's a size, speed, strength thing where he's not quick enough to get away from the rush. He's not big, like bulky enough.
Did
to
you see how
absorb the
much
hit.
how much weight he gained?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, he's a tank now.
Really?
It's like noticeable. It's really weird. I wonder
Yeah,
what the how's that going to affect his play. Like it looks like he strategically put on weight. It's really weird.
I mean, he needs. It's tough though. Like when you're in the NFL, and you're like, "Oh, size doesn't matter." Like, yeah, size doesn't matter until it does matter because there's a lot
Yeah.
of big, strong, fast guys trying to chase you down and hit you really hard. And if you're not that quick and you're not that athletic to like, get away from them, and you're not big enough to absorb it,
What you're talking about?
it's an
Tua
issue.
got heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean that's bad in my opinion. Like you need to be more flexible. Like Eli Manning was never huge. He could just
Yeah.
bend 3 different ways, and so he never got hurt, right? Like, but you
Yeah.
don't call him athletic and big and strong. You just say he's
Yeah.
6'5" and flexible as like a rubber band. So
I get it. You want that extra layer to. I don't know where I stand on it. I get
nah.
you want the extra layer to absorb the hits, but I'm not sure. I still don't trust his ability to stay healthy. Here's another one that's interesting. And we'll get out of here in a minute. Russell Wilson, 37.50 passing yards. Are we sure his job is safe if he plays
No.
badly for a month? Like, who
No.
did they sign? They signed
No.
who's the kid from he played well for the Raiders last year. He was on the Patriots forever.
Stidham.
Why am I blanking? Stidham.
Stidham, yeah.
I think Sean Payton's going to want to run the ball. He's mentioned, hey, well, you got to get back to the running game. If he plays poorly, like Sean Payton's didn't trade for him. Sean Payton, like, I don't know, 37.50. That's another thing where if he gets hurt, you win. If he gets benched, you win. I'd kind of like 37.50.
Yeah, I'm
under.
totally
I like
fading
all
the
these
Broncos,
unders.
like I said. I love fading the Broncos. Sean Payton's come in and sounded like this crusty, curmudgeonly, old school Bear Bryant sounding dude in 2023. Like, got rid of Brandon McManus, the president of the Player Association, because he doesn't want uppity like talk backing to him from the players. It's like the longest tenured dude on the team. He's just coming in and like trying to change everything. I don't know. He's just gonna want everything to be his. And Russell Wilson's not his. Jared Stidham is his, like you said. So like, yeah, I love fading them and love fading what I think is gonna be a beautiful disaster for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton.
I do worry about fading the team just because I think that is a massive, massive coaching upgrade. Like I don't even like Peyton. I think he got like way too much love. People were like acting like he's the best coach ever when with that contract, but he is still a good coach. He's going to improve them, so that would concern me a little bit. Let's see here. Shoffley's down to 5-1. What's going on in the golf, Brad?
Shoffley's playing amazing. I cannot believe Scotty Scheffler just played this hole. He played bocce ball in this hole, and I look up and he's tapping in for par. I'm like, what the heck? This
Plus
course is
260.
tough,
Shoffley,
man.
first round leader now.
Yeah, this course is tough, man. But there's 5 guys that are tied for first. Like, you don't want that dead heat. Like, it's gonna be stupid.
So that's not worth a bet. Plus 260.
Maybe when we were talking about it earlier, when I said he's going to finish first round leader when he was on hole 7.
Yeah. Nothing else you bet before we bounce?
No, I would look to maybe take some over par bets. The course is progressively getting harder. FanDuel was hanging a bunch of 70s around. Let's see if they still have those. Oh, they do. Hold on. It's loading. Or I didn't just refresh my screen. Oh, yeah, here it is. Let's see. Round score. Let's see who we can take because I'm more than happy of fading a bunch of guys. Okay, listen. They got Keegan Bradley. Let's find one overs. They got Rory. I would probably take Brooks Koepka over 69.5. I'd probably take Dustin Johnson over 70.5. I'd probably take Sam Burns over 71.5. I'd take Billy Horschel over 72.5. I'd probably smash Cam Young over 70.5. I'd probably put a healthy amount of money on Cam Young over 70.5. Finau over 70.5.
Damn.
Should we just be playing over for the cut to make the cut?
Is that still up? I didn't know if they did that live.
That I'm not sure. I don't know if they keep that up.
Yeah, I'd probably play Cam Young over 70.5. Probably as my best bet of the day.
So you're just looking to bet the course here.
I'm betting the course, and remember I told you about the putters. Like Cam Young has been one of the worst putters in golf. I think in the field he's ranked 113th over his last 36 rounds. And what's even better is he's ranked 115th around the green. And there's another course where you need around the green. If you're just looking at this, like this course is tough. I actually think I'm gonna put a sizable bet down on that. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. I think we need to end the show so I can make some golf bets myself.
You said it. That's all you have to say, man. That'll do it. We'll be back Monday, 1:00 Eastern. We got a lot in baseball, golf, football. We'll start doing more football. That was fun. So appreciate it. Good luck with all your plays. I am on the Phillies tonight. Hopefully we can cash some bets. So good luck. See you Monday. Thank you to Pickett Sports, Sleeper Picks. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll be back Monday, 1:00 Eastern. See you guys.